me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
And I think really right now what the focus needs to be on is mission and making sure that we're bringing people in the right places, putting the right leaders in the right places. If I could give anybody any advice, I'd really say, like, if you're passionate about this, and Parks and Recreation is so much broader than, maintaining facilities or doing programs, but if you're interested in graphic design, you can work for a Parks and Recreation agency. If you like videography, you can do that for a Parks and Rec agency. If sports is your calling, you can do that. So there's so many avenues that you can take within Parks and Recreation.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from NRPA Conference 2025. We're joined by the incredible Gabby Vera from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. From her first days as an 11-year-old in an after-school program in Miami-Dade to now directing her own department, Gabby's journey is a full-circle Parks and Rec story. She shares how mentors became family, how the Young Professionals Network transformed her career, and why inspiring the next generation is her mission. We'll dive into building strong pipelines for future leaders, navigating challenges in our industry, and celebrating the passion that drives over 6,000 professionals gathered here at NRPA. If you've ever wondered how Parks and Rec can be more than a job and truly a legacy, you don't want to miss this episode. Let's get started.
All right, we are live here again. This is Craig LeBlanc, the Daily Parks and Rec Show, with the legend Gabby Vera, all the way from, now she's back home.
Yeah.
Because we are in Florida. This is your home state, correct?
Yes, so excited to be back home. We're still about 4 hours out from Miami, but there's still some decent Cuban food, so we're happy.
You can just smell the Florida in the air.
I know, the humidity, everything, it's great.
Well, maybe tell a little bit, people, I want to get to know kind of your backstory about how you got into Parks and Rec, because there are some people that literally, they call themselves park rats.
Yeah.
They just grew up in Parks and Rec. Gabby is one of them, but even from an early age, she saw that she wanted to pursue this as a career choice. So if you can tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so I started in Parks and Recreation as an 11-year-old, 12-year-old kid. I was just transitioning from elementary school to middle school, and my mom was very strict. So there was no way on God's green earth that we were going to be walking home or taking the bus home. So we were lucky enough to find an after-school care program through Miami-Dade County Parks and Recreation. And Miami-Dade County Parks and Recreation had an IGA with the school district, so Miami-Dade School District. So lucky for us, as soon as I got out of middle school, I walked across the field into the community center and was able to attend. And from there, even though being that young, I thought that I was self-sufficient, that I was able to walk home or take the bus, but it was the best thing that ever happened. I met my best friends there. I met, mentors that have turned into family. I started my career, the same park I started my after-school journey at. So it really was a full circle moment. And because all of those amazing people that were in my life that impacted me so heavily, it really inspired me to give back and really find my life's work in this industry. So I'm one of the very lucky people that have gotten to enjoy programs, grow up through programs, create programs, and now direct my own department. So it really is an amazing journey.
Fantastic. Now tell us a little bit about your work in YPN. You were the first ever to tell me about YPN.
Yeah.
It was through our conversation that the world of YPN opened up, and I've met so many great people, Molly, Megan, countless others.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about YPN.
For sure. So before I even really talk about YPN, I'm going to really speak about how I even stumbled upon YPN. Growing up in Miami-Dade County and working for Miami-Dade County, because the agency was so large, we really didn't have an opportunity to learn much about NRPA or even our state association. So a lot of that was personal self-development, finding out other avenues. So when I did find NRPA, which probably was about 2016, 2017, I started doing a bunch of research and YPN came up. I never really engaged with it because I was still fairly young in my career. And when I moved across the country and started working in Arizona, the Phoenix, when NRPA was out in Phoenix, that was the first conference that I had ever attended. And while I was there and going through the schedule of all these crazy things, I saw that there was a young professional network. So I said, oh, okay, this is what I had seen a few years back. So they had a networking retreat. So all of these YPNs, so young professionals, were from across the country gathered in this room and started talking about what they'd like to see in the industry from their perspective. And from there, I was hooked. So when they had leadership opportunities, I threw my name in the hat and I was interested in doing their marketing. So that's what I started doing. So creating pictures and images to stream onto the Facebook page and any other platforms that NRPA and YPN was using. So I've really kind of taken the bull by the horns in doing that. And we've got a great team. Molly is I guess she's technically now the past president, but being able to work with Molly and Cassie and Rachel and Max, it's been an amazing journey, and I'm just super thankful that NRPA even has something for young professionals to really be able to advocate and really look for something towards the future for our industry, because we are the future.
Yeah. Now, who's the incoming?
His name is Eric. Don't make me butcher his last name. He's in Colorado, but I think he did a great job. He led the last YPN retreat that we had on Monday with Molly, and he did a fantastic job. And he's already, hitting the ground running, getting all of us kind of ready for this next year and looking at things from a different lens and seeing how we can engage and get more YPNs involved in YPN.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so what's one thing you could highlight as far as what YPN does in monthly meetings, along with y'all? This is kind of y'all's main event. You'll have something involved with it. Don't you have one other event in addition to this?
No, so this is really our main focal point, right? So the retreat is so important because it allows for all of us to kind of gather in one place. And this is how we map out what the rest of the year is going to look like, specifically for those monthly e-meetings that we do. So, and the great thing is these aren't just topics or themes that the president or the chair is pulling out of the air, right? These are actually things coming from other YPs across the country. So some of the topics that came up in particular on Monday were looking at, how to navigate that political climate, being able to work in multi-generational agencies, taking that next step from a coordinator to a supervisor. So all of these things we get to focus on, we've talked about, and now we kind of bring it in action, find speakers, find people who are that subject matter expert to really focus on that one thing every month. So it's really exciting and it's a good opportunity. The other thing is this gives us an opportunity to actually meet the people that we engage with online. A lot of us have created relationships, friendships outside of just the Young Professionals Network because we've been able to gather and realize, oh, wow, this person is going through similar situations as me, or this person has done great in their career. I wonder if there's anything that I can learn or aspire to do because they've done it. So I think really the network is just about that, is creating those relationships. The professional development, that's all great, but I think really at the core of it, it's the networking.
Fantastic. So we made a video for the industry about why you should consider Parks and Recreation. And, talking with people like you, I love seeing you out in front of young people. But what kind of message would you have for young people? We'll go ahead and play this first. I'd like to get your feedback on how we did, and then maybe get your message as what you would tell young people that are kind of undecided as to play this one.
Every career is a choice, but few careers let you touch lives. Not once in a while, but every single day. Step into a park on a Saturday morning. You'll hear children laughing on the soccer field, families gathering for a picnic, seniors walking the trails, finding health and friendship. And behind every smile, every memory, is a Parks and Rec professional. We don't just mow fields, we grow confidence in young athletes. We don't just build playgrounds, we create safe spaces where childhood thrives. We don't just plan events, we design moments that anchor generations. Think of the coach who teaches patience, the director who champions equity, the staff member who sees potential in a child no one else believed in. Every day, Parks and Rec professionals shape character, preserve beauty, and strengthen community. And the path isn't easy. Budgets are tight, resources stretched thin, but the reward, unmatched. Because what you give comes back in legacy, in healthier communities, in lives forever changed. So why dedicate your life to Parks and Recreation? Because here, your work never ends. It lives on, in laughter echoing across playgrounds, in green spaces preserved for the next century, in the young professionals rising to lead tomorrow. This is not just a career, it's a calling, it's a legacy, it's Parks and Recreation. A message from the Parks and Rec community.
How do we do?
I think that is a good interpretation of what Parks and Recreation is and all the amazing things that we do and why it's so important that this work is considered essential and not just, an afterthought. So I think it was a great job. I love it personally because a lot of what was said in there, those are the things that impacted me. And those are the reason why I've continued to stay in this industry, and it's my life's mission. So I think that was really great. It was a good job.
Yeah, and I think there's so many kids that don't know that this is even an industry you can work in. So, it's more about just spreading the message. This is something you should consider. And oddly enough, many of us first job ever in our community is with the Park and Rec department as a lifeguard, as a camp counselor, cutting the grass. That was actually my first and only job ever. Was cutting grass for Rocky Alexander.
That's hilarious.
West Baton Rouge Bear. And now here I am again, back in Parks and Rec.
Full circle.
Content. That's it.
Yeah.
I was always destined to come back.
I think for me, and a funny story, and I may have told you when we did our episode a couple months ago, I have a gentleman. He's like my dad. His name is Bernie Rodriguez. And I remember being like 12 or 13 years old, sitting in the office with him because I was just so enamored by all this cool, amazing things that we get to do. And I would sit in there and be like, Bernie, one day I'm going to take your job and I'm going to be your boss, and we laugh about it because we still talk to this day. And he, not too long ago, we were talking and he's like, funny enough, he goes, I would work for you, so it really is great. And at such a young age, I think I'm blessed to have known what it is that I've wanted to do with my life. And you are right. A lot of young people, even though they are summer camp counselors or they're lifeguards, they really don't realize that they can make a career out of this. And in some cases, like, you can make a really decent living and you can live well. And I think it's just advocating and creating and educating those people who are up and coming. And passion is a big part, I think, of everything that we do in this industry. Like, you have to be passionate. You have to want to give back to communities and to people, or this just doesn't work. And I mean, I can tell you, being in the room yesterday, surrounded by 6,000 plus people, I'm more than positive everybody's mission is the same. And that's exciting.
All right. So where do you see this industry in 5 or 10 years, or what message do you have?
Well, I will say this, and I did a presentation yesterday with Nile, Molly, and Hashim, and that was kind of the question that came up too. It's like, well, where do you see the industry in the next 5 to 10 years? And I kind of took it in a different perspective. I'm more so looking at it like, what are we going to do to get, over some of these hurdles that we're seeing? So creating those staff pipelines, making sure that we're able to still staff our profession in our industry, getting people excited about the profession, which is a lot of what I think your current mission has been too, is just to educate those young people and let them know that this is a career. So before we can even think about 5-10 years, we have to make sure that we're still going to be able to sustain it and sustain our industry. And I think really right now what the focus needs to be on is mission, and making sure that we're bringing people in the right places, putting the right leaders in the right places, advocating for our profession, whether that is through, grants or opening up different funding opportunities for the industry. I think it's much bigger than, programs and facilities and parks. Like, it just has to be. And then if I could give anybody any advice, I'd really say, like, if you're passionate about this, and Parks and Recreation is so much broader than, maintaining facilities or doing programs. But if you're interested in graphic design, you can work for a Parks and Recreation agency. If you like videography, you can do that for a Parks and Rec agency. If sports is your calling, like, you can do that. Like, so there's so many avenues that you can take within Parks and Recreation. So if you have a passion and it correlates, like, go for it, dream big, step out of your comfort zone, and just live a life of passion and purpose, really.
Fantastic. Great message. Any closing remarks about Arizona? What's going on in there? It seems like every time I turn around, there's somebody in Parks and Rec coming from Arizona.
Well, I will say this. So we took our Arizona, state picture in front of the NRPA letters. I did not realize how many of us were here. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then it's so funny. So Manny, and if you haven't met Manny, he works for the city of Glendale. He's this big personality. So it's great. He's having us scream and shout and line up, Yeah. So I guess everybody knows that Arizona is here and we're proud. As far as everything that's going on over there, I mean, I think we're all just really waiting for it to cool down,
Yes.
But we've got a lot of great things going on. A lot of those cities are growing so rapidly. We're trying to keep up with the growth. And I just think there's a bunch of amazing professionals. So there's going to be a continuation of some amazing things happening in Arizona. And I'm really excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Gabby, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I appreciate all your leadership. And thank you for connecting me to YPN. It's been
no problem.
A day since you connected me. We've been off to the races. I'm so glad we get to do a Friday show. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern, you can catch. And I think on this very convention, we talked Megan Kuehl into hosting that show.
She'd be great for it. I think that's so smart. That's awesome.
She's so gifted and talented. So I appreciate all the connections that you've helped me make.
No problem. Awesome.
Have a great rest of your convention.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Gabby.
At DPR's Media Co., we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.